Hello, we will be waiting, I guess, a couple more minutes for more people to show up. So just sit tight and I guess we'll wait for 2 or 3 more minutes. All right, so let's begin. Michael, are you the only person? Are you the only person here right now?
Wait, I'm waiting, yeah. What?
Are you the
What
only
is-
person here? Looks like
Yeah.
it. Anybody else?
Um,
So
Huh?
let's get started. All right, right here should be where you guys left off last time. Is that right?
Yeah.
All right. I will, down here is where you stop. So start reading. Let's make the bottom a different color. So you start reading at the red and you can stop at the blue.
A shadow fell across them, and they looked up to see a very blurry-eyed Hagrid mopping his sweaty faces one of his tablecloth-sized handkerchiefs and beaming down at them. No one should feel happy after what happened last night. He said, Black escaping again and everything, but guess what? What? They said, pretending to look curious. Beaky, he escaped. He's free. Been celebrating all night. That's wonderful, said Harmony, giving Ron a reproving look because he looked as though he was close to laughing. Yeah, kind of tied them up properly, said Hagrid, gazing happily out over the clouds. I was worried this morning. He might have met Professor Lupin on the grounds, but Lupin says he never ate anything last night. What? Said Harry quickly. Blimey, haven't you heard? Said Hagrid, his smile fading a little. He lowered his voice, even though there was nobody in sight. Snape told all the Slytherins this morning. So everyone know by now. Professor Lupin's a werewolf. See, and he was loose on the grounds last night. He's back now, of course.
So let's talk about the scene for a little bit. So Hagrid says that last night something bad happened, but he is still happy. So why is Hagrid happy?
Because his bird I forgot the bird's name. Escaped his pet birds.
Yep. His name is Buckbeak, or he's also called Beaky right here. See?
Oh,
And then, so what did Snape tell all the Slytherins? And what was the big secret that got out?
Professor Lupin was a werewolf.
Mhm. And what? And you know how he says that he's packing now? What is he packing?
His stuff to move
Mhm. And why do you think he wants to move?
because he's embarrassed that he's a werewolf and that he won't be treated normally.
Yep. So let's see. Right here. Let's start at the red line and end at the blue.
He's packing, said Harry, alarmed. Why? Leaving, isn't he? Said Hagrid, looking surprised that Harry had to ask. Resigned first thing this morning. Says you can't risk it happening again. Harry scrambled to his feet. I'm going to see him, said to Ron and Hermione. But if he resigned, doesn't sound like there's anything we can do. I don't care. I still want to see him. I'll meet you back here. Lupin's office door was open. He had already packed most of his things. Grindylow's empty tank stood next to his battered old suitcase, which was open and nearly full. Lupin was bending over something on his desk and looked up when Harry knocked on the door. I saw you coming, said Lupin, smiling. He pointed to the parchment he had been poring over. It was a marauder's map. I just saw Hagrid, and he said you'd resigned. It's not true, is it? I'm afraid it is, said Lupin. He started opening his desk drawers and taking out the contents. Why, said Harry? The Ministry of Magic don't think you are helping Sirius, do they? Lupin crossed to the door and closed it behind Harry. No, Professor Dumbledore managed to convince Fudge that I was trying to save your lives. He sighed. That was the final straw for Severus. I think the loss of the Order of Merlin hit him hard, so he accidentally let slip that I am a werewolf this morning at breakfast.
So from the last paragraph, do you think Lupin and Severus get along? Do you think they're
Probably
friends?
not.
Yep. And oh, you haven't hit the part yet. Hold on. So why did Severus Snape accidentally, on purpose, tell everybody that Lupin is a werewolf?
Maybe because Lupin did something to Snape.
Well, we already know that they are not friends, but think about what happened during the night.
I forgot.
Okay. So basically, Snape went down and tried to stop Lupin from, because he thought that Lupin was going to attack Harry and Ron and Hermione. So he was going to stop them, and he thought he was going to be rewarded. So because he wasn't rewarded, he hates Lupin even more. So he just went to get back at him. All right, looks like we have another person joining us today. Hello, James.
Hello.
Uh,
I
time-
couldn't see your share screen a few minutes ago, but now I could.
Okay. Here you go. So basically you start reading at the red line and you stop reading at the blue. Can you start reading for us? James?
I'm checking the page.
Mhm.
Mm. I was a bit late today.
It's okay. You're the second earliest person today. It should be near the end of the book.
There we-
Chapter 22. Couple pages down.
You're not leaving just because of that, said Harry. Lupin smiled wryly. This time tomorrow, the owls will start arriving from parents. They will not want a werewolf teaching their children. Harry, and after last night, I see their point. I could have bitten any of you. That must never happen again. You're the best defense against the dark arts teacher we've ever had, said Harry. Don't go. Lupin shook his head and didn't speak. He carried on emptying his drawers. Then, while Harry was trying to think of a good argument to make him stay, Lupin said, "From what the headmaster told me this morning, you saved a lot of lives last night. Harry, if I'm proud of anything I've done this year, it's how much you've learned. Tell me about your patronus." How'd you know about that? Said Harry, distracted. What else could have driven the Dementors back? Harry told Lupin what happened. When he had finished, Lupin was smiling again.
Very good. So I have just a couple questions for you. So why is Lupin resigning? Or leaving? James, this question is for you.
Because Harry told him last night he turned into a werewolf.
Was it Harry that told him, or did he already know?
He already knows.
But when Harry knew about him being a werewolf, why didn't he leave when he first found out? Were there more people who knew about him being a werewolf now?
I think
Yeah, so there are
it's
more people.
Harry who told him.
No, it wasn't Harry. It's just that the other teacher, Mr. Snape, told everybody in the school that Lupin is a werewolf. And do people like werewolves?
No,
So if Lupin knows that people don't like werewolves, and he's a werewolf, do you think he would want to stay? You probably wouldn't, right? So
yes.
that's why he's leaving.
Oh,
All right. So, Michael, could you read from the red to let me move this to blue a little bit upwards, right there.
Okay. Yes, your father was always a stag when he transformed, he said. You guessed right. That's why we called him Prongs. Lupin threw his last few books into his case, closed the desk drawers, and turned to look at Harry. Here, I brought this from the Shrieking Shack this past night, he said, handing Harry back the invisibility cloak. And he hesitated and held out the Marauder's map too. I am no longer your teacher, so I don't feel guilty about giving you back this as well. It's no use to me, and I dare say you, Ron, and Hermione will find uses for it. Harry took the map and grinned. You told me Moony, Wormtail, and Padfoot and Pawns would have wanted to lure me out of school. You said they'd have thought it was funny. And so we would have, said Lupin, now reaching down to close his case. I have no hesitation
Hesitation.
in saying that James would have highly disappointed if his son had never found any of the secret passages out of the castle. There was a knock on the door. Harry hastily stuffed the Marauder's map and the invisibility cloak into his pocket. It was Professor Dumbledore. He didn't look surprised to see Harry there. Your carriage is at the gates, Remus, he said.
Yeah, very good. And so, do you remember what the Marauder's map does? It's a very special map. This question is for you, Michael.
What?
What does the Marauder's map do?
I forgot.
It's a map that shows the entire school and the people inside of it. And it gives their exact locations. So you get to see everybody who's inside Hogwarts and where they are. So it's a very special map that allows you to basically have a little know where everybody is. So you can avoid them or meet them.
and it even shows secret passages.
Yep. Shows a lot of secret passages. So do you remember who Moony, Wormtail, Padfoot, and Prongs are? Anybody can answer this question.
The people who created the Marauder's map.
That's right. And what are their real names?
I don't know.
Michael, do you know?
No.
No?
But I know Prongs is James Potter.
Yep, it's very good. So Moony is Lupin because he's a werewolf, and whenever werewolves see the moon, the full moon, they transform. And Padfoot is Sirius because he can turn into a dog, and dogs have pads on their foot. And the rat guy, I forget his name, Percy, no, the guy who was before.
Pettigrew.
Yeah, Peter Pettigrew. Exactly. He is Wormtail because if you remember, mice or rats have tails that look like worms. Does that make sense? So, James, you can start reading from the red and stop at the blue. We start at the word thank you, headmaster.
Thank you, headmaster. Lupin picked up his old suitcase and the empty Brindillo tank. Well, goodbye, Harry, he said, smiling. It has been a real pleasure teaching you. I feel sure we'll meet again sometime. Headmaster, there is no need to see me to the gates. I can manage. Harry had the impression that Lupin wanted to leave as quickly as possible. Goodbye, then, Remus, said the Dumbledore soberly. Lupin shifted the Grindylow tank slightly so that his and Dumbledore could shake hands. Then, with a final nod to Harry and a swift smile, Lupin left the office. Harry sat down in his vacated chair, staring glumly at the floor. He heard the door close and looked up. Dumbledore was still there. Why so miserable, Harry? He said proudly. You should be very proud of yourself after last night. It didn't make any difference, said Harry bitterly. Pettigrew got away. Didn't make any difference, said Dumbledore quietly. It made all the difference in the world. Harry, you helped uncover the truth. You saved an innocent man from a terrible fate. Terrible. Something stirred in Harry's memory, greater and more terrible than ever before. Professor Trelawney's prediction.
Very good. So I just have a couple more questions to ask you. So, when Dumbledore says you saved an innocent man from a terrible fate, who is the man that he's talking about?
Sirius Black.
Yep. And who you remember who Pettigrew is. So you can skip that question. And what is Professor Trelawney's prediction, if you remember?
I don't know.
That's true. I don't remember either. Let's keep on reading and find out. So there we go. Michael, could you start reading from the red bar and stop at the blue bar?
Okay. Professor Dumbledore, yesterday when I was having my divination exam, Professor Trelawney went very, very strange. Indeed, said Dumbledore, or stranger than usual, you mean? Yes. Her voice went all deep and her eyes rolled, and she said Voldemort's servant was going to set out to return to him before midnight. She said the servant would help him come back to power. Harry stood up at Dumbledore, and then she sort of became normal again, and she couldn't remember anything she'd said. Was she making a real prediction? Dumbledore looked mildly impressed. Do you know, Harry, I think she might have been, he said thoughtfully. Who'd have thought it? That brings her total of real predictions up to 2. I should offer her a pay raise. But Harry looked at him aghast. How could Dumbledore take this so calmly? But I stopped Sirius and Professor Lupin from killing Pettigrew. That makes it my fault if Voldemort comes back. It does not, said Dumbledore quietly. Hasn't your experience with the Time Turner taught you anything, Harry? The consequences of our actions are always so complicated, so diverse, that predicting the future is a very difficult business indeed. Professor Trelawney, bless her, is living proof of that. You did a very noble thing in saving Pettigrew's life.
So, do you think it was noble, even though Peter Pettigrew is working for Voldemort? Michael? Michael, are you there? So, do you think that saving Peter Pettigrew's life is noble, even though Pettigrew is working for Voldemort? Michael, are you muted? You can type your answer in the chat if you'd like. Let's pull up the chat. Yeah, why do you think so? Is it,
Do you hear me now?
yeah, I can hear you now.
I think
Isn't-
it's noble because like saving a person's life is sometimes very hard to do, especially if you live in a magic world.
Yeah, very good. And one more. What does Dumbledore say about the Time Turner and consequences? And about predicting the future. Is predicting the future easy or hard?
Hard
And why is it hard?
because like they're hard because if mankind can't predict the future, then like in a magical world,
How many decisions do people make each day? A lot?
about 50,
I don't know the
100.
exact number, but it's got to be a lot. Like what you decide to wear this morning,
Oh,
what you
now I
decide
know
to eat.
how it's hard. So to predict the future, you need to like a lot of people make a lot of decisions, so like it's pretty hard.
Yeah, very good. A lot of people make decisions, so a lot of things could go on. So there could be a lot of different guesses, and only one is correct. So very good. All right. James, could you start reading from the red and stop reading at the blue?
But if he helps Voldemort back to power, Pettigrew owes his life to you. You have sent Voldemort a deputy who is in your debt. When one wizard saves another wizard's life, it creates a certain bond between them. And I'm much mistaken if Voldemort wants his servant in the depths of Harry Potter. I don't want a connection with Pettigrew, said Harry. He betrayed my parents. This is magic at its deepest. It's most impenetrable trouble. But trust me, the time may come when you will be very glad you saved Pettigrew's life. Harry couldn't imagine when that would be. Dumbledore looked as though he knew that what Harry was thinking. I knew your father very well, both at Hogwarts and later, Harry, he said gently. He would have saved the Pettigrew too. I'm sure of it. Harry looked up at him. Dumbledore won't laugh. You could tell Dumbledore. I thought it was my dad who conjured my Patronus. I mean, when I saw myself across the lake, I thought I was seeing him. An easy mistake to make, said Dumbledore softly. I expect you're tired of hearing it, but you do look extraordinarily like James, except for eyes. You have your mother's eyes. Harry shook his head. It was stupid, thinking it was him, his mother. I mean, I knew he was dead. You think the dead we love ever truly leave us? You think that we don't recall him more clearly than ever in times of great trouble? Your father is alive in you, Harry, and shows himself most plainly when you have need of him. How else could you produce that particular Patronus? Tongs wrote again last night.
Very good. So let me see. So you know how Harry Potter saved Peter Pettigrew's life. And so Dumbledore says that there is magic in saving another person's life. And since Pettigrew is working for Voldemort, does that mean it's good for Voldemort or good for Harry?
Dumbledore says it is good for Harry.
Very good. And what is Harry's Patronus, if you can remember?
Prongs.
What animal is Prongs?
Stag.
Yep. stag is a type of male deer. It's the one with the antlers. And so when Harry summoned Patronus and he saw the Harry in the past, what did the Harry in the past think the future Harry was?
His own dad.
Yep. Does Harry look like his dad?
He completely looks like his dad, except he has his mother's eyes.
Yep, good job. That was the next thing I was going to ask. So let's have so Michael start for us. Just these bars. Start at the blue and start at the red and end at the blue.
It took a moment for Harry to realize what Dumbledore.
Oh, I think that's a typo. I'm pretty sure that's
What
supposed to say Dumbledore.
Dumbledore had said. Last night, Sirius told me all about how they became Animagi, said Dumbledore, smiling. An extraordinary achievement. Not least keeping it quiet from me. And then I remembered the most unusual form your patroness took when it charged Mr. Malfoy down at your Quidditch match against Ravenclaw. You know, Harry, in a way, you did see your father last night. You found him inside yourself. And Dumbledore left the office, leaving Harry to his very confused thoughts. Nobody at Hogwarts now knew the truth of what happened that night that Sirius, Buckbeak, and Peter Grew had vanished except Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Professor Dumbledore. As the end of term approached, Harry heard many different theories about what had really happened, but none of them came close to the truth. Malfoy was furious about Buckbeak. He was convinced that he could have found a way of smuggling the Hippogriff to safety and seemed outraged that he and his father had been outwitted by a gamekeeper. Percy Weasley, meanwhile, had much to say on the subject of Sirius's escape. If I manage to get in the ministry, I'll have a lot of proposals to make about magical law enforcement. He told the only person who would listen, his girlfriend Penelope. Though the weather was perfect, though the atmosphere was so cheerful, though he knew they had achieved the near possible in helping. I just got distracted.
You're good.
Harry had never approached the end of a school year in more spirits. He certainly wasn't the only one who was sorry to see Professor Lupin go. The whole of Harry's defense against the Dark Arts class was miserable about his resignation.
Yep. So, a couple more questions. Why isn't Harry happy that the end of the year is approaching? I mean, it's the end of the year right now, and school is about to be out, and summer is about to begin. Why isn't he happy?
Because Professor Lupin left?
Yep. So, does that mean he's going to be back next year?
No.
Yep. So he's sad because his favorite teacher is not going to be back next year. So Percy, who is Percy?
A student?
Is he an important character? Does he know anybody? Is he related to anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah,
One
who's he
of
related to?
One of the people on the car who flew into the Whomping Willow in book 2.
Yep, there were only Harry and Ron. So he's related to Ron because we know that Harry doesn't have any siblings. His last name is also Weasley, and Ron's last name is Weasley as well. And one more question for the both of you. Do you think them helping Sirius escape and Buckbeak get away was easy to do?
No.
Yep. Did they have to do a lot of things?
Yes.
Mhm. And do you think that you could do it if you had to?
No.
No. That's all right. You don't have magic, and you're not as old as them. But you could definitely do it if you have the chance. That'll be the end for today. Thank you guys all for coming, and I'll see you next week.
Okay.
You guys can leave now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.